Hey guys, it is Michelle and I am here with a Top 5 Wednesday video. This week's topic is your most anticipated books of 2015. Top 5 Wednesday is a video series created by Lainey at GoodReads Lainey, so I will link her channel and the GoodReads group for Top 5 Wednesday below so you can get more information there if you are interested. I'm actually doing two lists, which is totally cheating, but I am highly anticipating lots of books in 2015. Okay, my first list is a list of books that are in a series that I have already started, and so I'm looking forward to the second book, so I'll go over those quickly. On this list would have been Golden Sun by Pierce Brown, but I got a digital reader's copy of it early on and have already finished it and loved it. If you loved Red Rising or liked it, you need to continue the series with this book because it gets even better. Still dark. Still not much optimism, but you still just want Darrow to succeed. I don't know how he does it, but he does. Awesome. Next on the list, the real list, is Heart of Betrayal by Mary E. Pearson, and this is the follow-up to Kiss of Deception, and the series is called The Remnant Chronicles. I loved the first book. I loved kind of the love triangle thing that was going on. I loved how the reader was privy to information that the characters were not, and that was so fun to go along with. But even without that kind of gimmick, the story just stood on its own, and I particularly loved the character growth that Leah underwent during the story. And I love the twist that she put on the end. That's going to let us look into a whole nother section of the world in Heart of Betrayal. Next on the list is Skull Throne by Peter V. Brett. This is the fourth in the Demon Cycle series. I don't want to say much about the series because I have been reading it for so long that I don't know. I can no longer remember what would be a spoiler, like for the first book or second or third book, so I'm not going to say much about it at all. But it is action-packed, and it is so political, and it is completely awesome. It's definitely for grown-ups only. But it is amazing. If you enjoyed Game of Thrones, I highly encourage you to check it out. It's not like a Game of Thrones ripoff or anything like that, but it is fantasy with a lot of politics, and it is just so well done. Depending on which country you live in, the first book may be called The Painted Man or The Warded Man. So good. Can't wait for that one to come out. Next on my list is book 3 in Penryn and the End of Days, and it is called End of Days by Susan E. The first two books were Angel Fall and World After, and it's essentially a story when angels who are warring decide to bring the war down to Earth and how that affects one particular human and the people around her. And of course there's interaction with her and an angel, and Hubba Hubba Rafi. If I were ever going to have a book boyfriend, it would be him. Next on the list is Winter's Crime by Marie Rudkowski, and I can't wait to see what Kestrel and Aaron are up to in this book. Kestrel is so cunning and so smart and has really gotten herself into a pickle with a surprise ending of Winter's Curse, and I am anxious to see how she and Aaron deal with this going forward and how her father plays into it and a whole lot of things. So, I believe it's Elena Reed's Books has already gotten to read this as a digital advanced reader's copy, and I'm so jealous, but she said it was wonderful. So, yeah, can't wait to get my hands on that one. And the last book in a series that I would love to continue in 2015 is the book Half Wild by Sally Green, and this is the follow-up to Half Bad, which I read towards the end of 2014, and I loved it, and also read Half Lies, the novella that kind of tells Gabriel's backstory. So really interested in what happens there. There was so much that we learned about how gifts can be given to witches that didn't get explored in the first book, and so I'm hoping we kind of get into that in the second book. So on to my second Top 5 Wednesday, which is the top 5 books that I'm anticipating in 2015 that either are starting a new series or are standalone books. First on the list is Girl on the Train. I think this one comes out pretty early in January. Probably, I think it's the 13th, last I saw. Girl on the Train by Paula Hawkins. And essentially there's a young lady who commutes to work on a train every day, and she sees the same couple on kind of a little veranda eating breakfast every morning, and she even makes up fake names for them and like tries to imagine what their lives are like. Well, one day she witnesses something she wasn't meant to see, and then the young lady of the couple is no longer around for a while. So she gets worried and gets a little nosy, and I think it's going to be pretty suspenseful from the way it sounded, so that one has me very intrigued. Next on the list is Novice, and this is the first in a series of books called The Summoner, and it is written by Taryn Mathau. I believe he is a debut author. One of the intriguing things is he wrote this novel during NaNoWriMo one year, but the cover looks awesome, the premise sounds awesome, and it just sounds like a great start to a new fantasy series. Next on my list is Million Miles Away by Laura Avery. This is a YA contemporary about a girl whose twin sister has passed away, and of course everybody knows, except for her sister's boyfriend, who is a soldier away in Afghanistan, who is constantly telling her sister that she's the only reason he has to live and the only thing he has to look forward to. And she just can't bear to tell the boyfriend that her sister has died. And so she starts to impersonate her sister on the video chats. And I know there are only a couple ways that story could go, but I am just a sucker for that storyline and want to see how this one goes. Next on the list is by Sarah J. Maas, and that is the start of her new series. The book is called A Court of Thorns and Roses. Somehow she is blending fairies with Beauty and the Beast, and that does not even really sound like it's up my alley, but it's Sarah J. Maas, and after reading all 3 books in Throne of Glass, plus the novellas that went with it, I would read whatever she were writing, even if it were vampires, and I particularly loathe vampire stories. But it's Sarah J. Maas, so I have a feeling it's going to be good. I'm definitely going to check it out. And the last one on the list is What You Left Behind by Jessica Verity. This is about a young man who is a single father raising an infant after the mother passes away from cancer, and he is having a rough go of it, and the only bright spot in his life is a new young lady that he has met, but he's hiding the fact that he's a parent from her. So I'm assuming this one's going to be pretty heart-wrenching and hopefully heartwarming in the end. Who knows, but looking forward to that one as well. So there you have it, Top 5 Wednesday. Thanks so much for watching and happy reading.